What up, y'all? Will Brooks here with another session of Thoughts Out Loud Experiment. It is February 2nd. It is late at night. Not late. It's only 10:40. I say it's late at night because Thoughts Out Loud is supposed to happen first thing in the AM. That's why I'm like, yo, this is not happening the way it's supposed to. Welcome to session 32. And obviously, things didn't go according to plan today. I am actually, you can tell things are off anyway, just by the setting. I'm using my podcast mic to go ahead and record the episode. In fact, the volume looks particularly low. My podcast mic requires me to be right up on it. So very rarely do I make video. Not very rarely. I mean, I try not to make too much video with it just because just because I don't like the whole visual of this right against my mouth. But yeah, weird things have been thrown for a loop. I've been thrown for a loop, or the plans have been thrown for a loop this week because at work I already mentioned it in the previous Thoughts Out Loud, but had a visitor come over from the States to do some work and definitely threw my schedule off to a certain extent, like to an extensive extent. Is that even? Can you put those two together? And I am having to scramble like a mug, man, like a motherfucker, man. I'm having to scramble like crazy, man. So get this. Here's what happened. I didn't end up getting like my podcast episode did not go live on time this morning. This is partially my fault. Now, last night I was supposed to be recording. The wife didn't leave and go to church like she normally does. Didn't take the baby. And I was like, cool, I'm going to wait till the baby go to sleep. I'm not going to trip. Wait till the kids go to sleep because it's too loud to try to record with them in here. Even though the live podcast episode went, it seems like people liked him being there, but that shit's distracting. I'm sorry. I love him. He's my kid. I like him more than you do. I promise you. But damn, having him sit here and do this next to me while I'm trying to talk something serious it's hard to talk something goofy with him doing that next to me, let alone something serious. So I don't want him in here when I'm doing the podcast. Whatever, I don't care. There'll be podcasts that involve him later on, or YouTube videos that involve him later on. We're doing self-made, make it yourself candy and stuff like that. He'll be there, just not on the stuff that I'm serious about. And maybe I should take myself less seriously, and that will happen in time, probably. In any case, I called myself letting him go to sleep, and then I'll do the podcast. But you guys can probably already figure out what happened, right? I fell asleep instead of him. I'm tired. So I'm tired this week. I haven't been doing that much work, man. It's just been the monkey wrench thrown into my plans just kind of really threw things off. This whole process isn't that, it's not that defined, right? I didn't start doing this until December. It hasn't been, I'm 5 weeks into Thoughts Out Loud. So that's thrown off. Waking up at 5 a.m. to do it, 4:45 in the morning to do it. If I stay out till 1 o'clock showing somebody around Korea, which is what SeoulWeaver is about, and so doing it in person allows me the chance to kind of experience what I need to what I need to. Oh man, I'm gonna really go into that. I'm gonna go into that later. I'm sorry. Let me back out of that. That's why. In the end, I stayed up till 1 o'clock because I took the person visiting me from the States and his wife out, and we kind of showed them around the town and showed them a good time. That's what SeoulWeaver's all about. And there's a reason I did that, and the reason it trumped everything that I had planned, no matter what was planned this week. That seemed important to me, and I'll probably talk about that in the morning, why that's going to happen. I mean, because the morning is in a few hours. I'm going to go to sleep and then wake up and talk about that again. Maybe I hope I don't think about it too much in the head. But since everything got delayed, since things got thrown for a loop, this morning's podcast episode wasn't ready. I was not happy with myself. But I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. Let's go ahead. This is what we talk about all the time, or what I talk about all the time on this show, right? Like, I'm like, okay, let's this show or this, in thoughts out loud. This is what I think to myself all the time. Okay, the show's not ready, or the show didn't, the podcast episode didn't go live. Let's figure this out. What can we do from this point on? So what I did, which I'm pretty impressed with myself, and honestly, Ant, I seen you do this too, and I was like, yeah, man, just make it happen. Anthony actually took his cell phone and recorded one of his third things in the morning at work on his break, I'm assuming, and delivered it, and just try to keep things going that way. So now I've actually tried to set up a, like, doing third thing in the morning when you're just kind of doing thoughts out loud on the run when I'm just rambling. It's not that bad. It wouldn't be that difficult. But I put a little bit more into my So We Were podcast episodes. And even though there's only supposed to be about 15 to 20 minutes, a little bit longer than this, even though this ends up running long sometimes, like this one might, I try to kind of fact check and give like some actual, I don't know. I try to build like some more authority with that. Like this, I'm just thinking out loud. That's why it's called the Thoughts Out Loud experiment. But the Soul Weaver podcast episodes are supposed to be informative. Uh, with that said, I've been set up for a mobile situation with the Soul Weaver podcast from the beginning. Like, I used to do it in my walk-in closet. Uh, I didn't always have everything set up like this. So what I did is I took the blue mic that I normally use during Thoughts Out Loud. The refrigerator came on. You guys probably hear that. I took the blue mic and the blue snowball. I took my laptop, threw it in my camera bag, threw in the pieces, and then left for work like an hour early. And what I did, I went and grabbed my coffee, and I drove up to the top of a hill on the base overlooking Itaewon. And if you know Korea, then you know what all that means. And I just took out my laptop, opened it up, pulled up GarageBand, plugged in my blue mic, and did the show from there. It was freaking awesome. Like, how more inspired can you be? Well, I'm sure there's more ways to be inspired, but it's pretty inspiring to sit there and watch the sunrise and talk, into your microphone or kind of podcast about, life in Korea. Today's theme is relationships, or this month's theme is relationships. And today's episode was on how difficult it is or isn't to make friends in Korea with Korean people. And so to sit there overlooking Itaewon as the sun comes up and with my mic in my hand, just talking, a cup of coffee in the other hand, it was like, yo, it rivals doing it here. Like, it might be better. Like, I still haven't figured it out. I haven't figured out what I like more. And I figured out the settings on the blue microphone a while ago. So the reason I didn't use it before, the reason I never did it really externally before, like before I used to move this mic around all the time. But the blue is just USB and its stand. So it's more easy to move around, but it didn't sound right. Well, I had the settings wrong. And so when you put it on setting 2, if you happen to have a blue snowball, if you put it on setting 2, it sounds just like this mic. It actually costs more than this mic, and I've secretly been pissed because I paid $70 for that mic, $60 for this one, and that mic doesn't sound anywhere near as good. So I've been really upset. I haven't told anybody until now. You're welcome, because I love you guys. And I was all angry, man, but I was just using it wrong. I was just using it wrong. And the funny thing is, Dan, you used it. My brother Dan used it when he did a video, and I was like, oh, it sounds awesome. So I didn't realize what I was doing wrong, but once I got this mic set up in place like it is, and once I got this piece that doesn't do anything when I bump it. I don't know if you heard that, but once I got this set up, I wasn't gonna change anyway. And then the next upgrade is coming when I hit episode 50 of the SeoulWeaver podcast. So anyway, dude, I don't know. I like the way that went. I truly like the way that went. And I've been toying with the idea of a this for SeoulWeaver, and that might be what I end up doing. Change the schedule up, leave an hour early, and just park somewhere with a good viewpoint, good vantage point of the sunrise, and just watch the sun come up and talk for 5 to 10 minutes about a topic of Korea, a topic related to Korea, and just do that every day, or do that 3 times a week, or maybe even twice a week at first. Because I mean, with thoughts out loud, I can ramble and talk about whatever, right? But well, with SeoulWeaver, I want to take it a little. I want to take it a little bit more serious, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just talk about whatever comes to my mind about Korea. You thing is, you gotta be a little more Korea. You gotta be a little more careful with Korea, because the netizens are pretty. They can be pretty brutal. They can take you out the game, really, if you. They can run you out of town. I ain't scared of them, but why didn't I wouldn't wish the wrath of Korean netizens on anybody, let alone myself. It's not something I would want to deal with. I'd have to change topics. They aren't my demographic. That's why I said I'm not scared of them. They're not my demographic. I'm not making it for them. But that doesn't necessarily stop them from doing what they do, or getting, or trying to take people down, or successfully taking people down. I see them make popular vloggers apologize for just offhand comments. So talking too recklessly, or just talking too freely about Korea, especially since in some cases, in certain topics, they'll take it very sensitively. I don't know if that's something I want to do. I gotta make that call myself. But I definitely want to do something that I've ever since I've done this, and this isn't big. What is it? It's not a big deal. The Thoughts Out Loud isn't huge. All Things Will, the channel, isn't huge, but it's got 32 freaking videos on it and 5 in the oven. So it's already got 40 pieces of content versus SeoulWeaver's got less than 10. So obviously the daily shows or the daily, not shows, but the daily content is killer. I mean, because when it finally hits, like when somebody finally sees it, if it sees somebody who actually, links up with it, they can go back and watch a ton of content. They can see a lot of things that apply to them, a lot of things that interest them, and share that stuff. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's the reason I started doing this, but no, not the reason. It's one of the reasons I started doing this, but goodness gracious, like I need to do something like this with SeoulWeaver content, unedited, informal, really often, and put it on Switch, and I think I might have found it. So there are a couple of things that kind of bug me. One, I don't know what that would do for Thoughts Out Loud. Like, that would really throw Thoughts Out Loud into a bundle. I think this just hit me right now as I was editing the podcast episode. But I don't know what that would do to TOL. Like, how would I then do this show or this piece of content? Like, it's part of my morning routine. Look at what's happening when I'm doing it late. But maybe doing it late isn't that bad. I got so much more energy in this episode, this session, goodness gracious, than I have had. This is usually how I am at the end of a session. Like, this is usually how I am before I turn the mic off. Like, I pump myself up in the morning. And two things. One, I would really miss that energy popping out in the morning. And I guess I don't know if I'd get to the same point if I did something SeoulWeaver related or Korea related. And this would this work? Maybe I would move this to the evening. Like, I can't do both in the morning. Can't wake up, do this, upload. It's already hard to do this and get this uploaded to YouTube. It's kind of a crunch. For all that to happen before work. Sometimes it doesn't. Very curious about how I should go about doing this. I put another thing. I'm over here like flipping out about the sunset in the morning and how great it is, how inspiring it is to watch the sunset in the morning. Goodness gracious, I almost didn't catch it. But I'm talking so much about the sunrise and how inspiring it is to kind of go through and be talking about Korea as I watch the sun rise over Seoul. And that's only gonna be happening for the next 2 months because come April, the sun's gonna be up at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning because there is no daylight savings time here. They don't change it. So I still got a little bit to think about on this, but I definitely like what went down this morning, which is crazy because it came out of like not what desperation and freaking failure, so to speak. Like failing to get the. If I had done everything right, this morning never would have happened. It's a great thing about just doing it, and it's another great thing. I have to say, it's a great thing about the New Year change, right? Like the only reason I'm this gung ho, this like super serious about getting the shows done on time is because I said, yo, this year I'm gonna do everything it takes to get the shows done on time. Now I could have done that last year. I could have said from November on, no more bullshit, and I'm gonna get the shows done on time every time or every day. But I don't know. The reset did something for me. The reset did something mentally for me that it does for everybody. It gives you a chance to reset. It gives you that mental reset. And I can't tell you. I will tell you right now, if that had happened 7 weeks ago, where I had missed an episode, I would have just missed the episode. I wouldn't have grabbed my mic and my laptop and took it and left for work an hour early. I wouldn't even been up an hour early. So yeah, yeah, man. This year is different. We're gonna make this year different. Since the refrigerator's back, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Got to get up early in the morning, do thoughts out loud. 33, 33. Oh shit! We should do thoughts out loud 33 with Anthony on. Nah, he's not. He's not part of thoughts out loud. You do a video with him though. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. Hope you have a great day because it's probably going to be daytime by the time this gets up on your end, or it's probably the middle of the day, afternoon, if you're stateside. I'll see you tomorrow on another episode of Thoughts Out Loud. God damn it, another session of the Thoughts Out Loud experiment. You guys have a good one.